I want to thank you. I love being part in your community. I love things like that when people get together and share their ideas. It's the best way to learn from each other and try to beat the market.
Why don't I
This
start
is
with
the only way
this?
to beat the market.
Before we get to the markets, do you think Greece should leave the Eurozone? Alex, what do you think?
It's a big question. I cannot answer it, to tell you the truth. I do not know the answer. Each
Okay.
answer has its own uh, points,
Yeah.
some pros and cons. It's difficult to answer such a question. Uh, it's very difficult. Even politicians or economists with great experience cannot be sure of the answer and the consequences of the answer.
What's it like living in a country and everyone looks at different countries and thinks that it could never happen in theirs, but according to a lot of great minds, this is going to be a global phenomenon, what you're already experiencing because of debt issues. What's it like to live in a country that's been negatively affected? The economy is in a recession slash depression. uh, has it broken the spirits, dampened the spirits of the Greek people?
Yes.
How have they been holding up? And, what's it like to live in a society like that, buddy?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. I can't imagine young people entering the workforce right now, how they are going to cope with all these difficulties. I hear about young people at the age of 25, 26 after finishing college and the universities, they still
Yeah.
live with their parents and grandparents because the pension of the grandparent might be enough, or it has to be enough for them to live all together because they can't find the jobs. Uh, Jobs are very scarce. Uh, Many people do not have the necessary education or money to go abroad and try their luck there.
Right. It's
It's
tough.
very tough. It's very tough. I can't imagine how young people cope with this right now. However, life makes cycles. We're
Yes.
now on the other side of the boom cycle. We're on the downside. Um, Whoever survives this cycle could be a winner after a few years. It's very difficult. The problem here in Greece, it's not only the debt issue or the euro by itself. Even if we had the drachma, the problems would remain the same. The problems are ethical, sociological, and they're deeper problems.
How about
How we
demographically, like it's going to become and is becoming here in the U.S. for people living on retirement incomes and pensions that the government is paying them. It's based upon the working population. They're
mm,
the ones that have to carry the burden. And when we started Social Security here in the U.S., there were
mhm.
30, 40 workers for every retiree, and now there's going to be 3. So demographically, is that an issue as well? So it's not easy to solve a demographic issue without a complete change of, social programs.
Correct. Unfortunately, in Greece, they have tried this way to cut pensions, but unfortunately, the problem I believe is elsewhere. In order to fix the economy, you also have to cut your own spending, not only the money you give for pensions. Because okay, a person living off a pension of 1,000 euros, yes, it's quite big nowadays. However, cutting the pension of most pensioners that have a pension of 500 or 600 euros, and for example they pay rent 300 euros, it's
Yeah.
insane. How are these people going to
How are
live?
they going to eat? How
How
are
are
they
they
going to
not
eat?
going?
How do
That,
they?
that
Right. Yeah.
uh, so unfortunately is I don't know. The situation is a bit hopeless here. Of course there is a lot of anger, and unfortunately, uh, I have recently read, and I never knew it. What is piranha and what is social piranha? Greece now, and most countries that are into crisis are. It's common for the whole people, for large masses of people, to be ruled by social piranha. That means that that happens now in Greece. We believe that the Germans, the Schäuble and Merkel, it's their fault that we are here. The refugees will
Who
be
do they
here.
blame? The Americans?
They might blame the Americans. They might blame the Muslims. They might blame I don't know who else. That is piranha. Someone is after us. We are the best people in the best country, and they want to steal it from us. This is piranha, and unfortunately, many people believe this, and they do not sit down and think logically in order to find solutions to the problems they themselves created by voting the same people all over these years that caused
Hmm.
all these problems. Well,
Well, if we do a historical parallel from here, Alexander,
mhm.
we have to think that politically, like Shakespeare said, the people want democracy when the coffers are full. They cry for a strong man, leader, dictator type when they're empty. Our politics shifting more towards the right and nationalism in Greece.
Mhm.
That's a normal swing of the pendulum politically when a
I agree.
country is under economic duress that we have to look out for our own and possibly look for scapegoats and people to blame for our situation.
Yes, that's
And
social
could
piranha.
yeah, so could that be with what's happening with the Syrian refugee crisis? A lot of them passing through uh, the Greek islands on their way to Europe. What is the situation in Greece regarding these immigrants and having open borders?
To tell you the truth, where I live, I do not feel the consequences or their presence as much as the inhabitants of the islands where they receive
Right.
these people. Where I live, we have, at the Olympics of 2004, we have created some big stadiums and some big buildings where refugees were sheltered. All we could do was gather some stuff, blankets, toys, foods, and shoes, and we could go to them, and volunteers would arrange the items so the people that really needed them would really take what they wanted.
You know, I
So
actually did see that on the news. I saw that on CNN where residents of the islands were greeting the refugees with old-fashioned charity, nothing coming from the government, coming from individuals. I thought it was a beautiful sight.
yes, many volunteers did this. This is something that makes me happy also. However, there is also some negative signs from other people that hated the refugees coming into the country. For example, selling one bottle of water for 10 euros. Or in order to charge your phone, give me 10 euros. Unfortunately, the biggest part of Greeks greeted them and welcomed them and helped them as much as they could. And from my part, also, I did the same thing. We gathered with some friends clothes, toys for kids, and for
Hmm.
babies, stuff they needed, and we went to those buildings that they were sheltered, and we gave them to the volunteers. Everybody must help as much as they can, even a little bit. Even if a little bit one can do something, everybody together can be a big change. This can
Okay,
be a
well,
big change.
Why don't we switch gears and see how you're going to build up your coffers? Looking at the markets here, Alexander, the more we make, the more we can give, the more we could bless others. So, why don't we
Understood.
take a
I
look at
agree.
the screen share is up on the upper right-hand side of the screen
Yes.
here.
Okay. I'm now sharing. Okay.
Okay.
One thing I want to say to everyone hearing right now, listening to us, for me, October and November were my worst months, and the best advice I can give is people always use stop losses and cut your losses short when they are small. This is the biggest lesson I've learned, and I'm still learning. They were my worst months because I didn't follow my rules. That's why we always have must have rules and always follow them. And having a stop loss when entering a position is the number one rule, and we should not forget uh, using that stop in order to protect us because
Okay,
things
so that's
go.
interesting, and that's very. This is a very interesting perspective
Things can
angle that
go.
you bring up here. First of all, I appreciate your transparency. A lot of people only want to talk about their good days. They don't like to
Yes,
talk about their drawdown periods. You have a
I look.
recognition. You have a recognition that you didn't follow your rules.
Yes,
What do you think was behind that? The desire not to take a loss and
it was a it was it was a
believing your
mixture.
bias. Go ahead.
It was it was a mixture. The first part was the fact that I was overconfident because from the period of March, April to August, I had 50% profit performance.
Okay.
I had
Okay.
50K portfolio. I made 25,000, for example.
Okay. So
Okay.
I understand where you're going now.
Yes, that
Because
that
yeah,
boosted my overconfidence that my
right,
my choices were always correct. I
right.
had a very good streak of good trades, and subconsciously, this makes me believe that this will continue. And I decided not to let my stop get hit because, well, maybe I'll give it another chance.
Yes.
Maybe it's an alternative wave count, or this is only temporary.
Yes. Okay.
Fortunately, I'm still in profits, but uh, this is an important lesson that everyone should know. And every day, no matter how many years of experience one has, I believe the market is always here to bring us down and make us learn again new things. And we have to be humble in order to trade the market and be profitable.
What do you think of this? After a big roll or a big victory in the markets where you've had
The
windfall
best
profits, where
Yes,
you've
the
had
best thing
windfall prof
is to stay close all positions and relax for a week or two. The market will
okay.
be here, opportunities will come. The market has been here for ages. Uh, if we take a break for a week or two, nothing bad will happen. We will have no position. Our mind will get clearer, and we will see things from a clearer and more objective perspective. This is the point. We have
What about
to.
this, Alex? What about this? When we have windfall profits, we start
Mhm.
to think about those profits as being the house money instead of our money. And we get sloppy because we have such a cushion from making a lot of money. And that we need to think of our profits as our money now, not the
Mhm.
house's money that we're holding temporarily.
That's why stops and trailing stops are very important. Unfortunately, I did not use trailing stops, and that's why a big amount of my profits got wiped out during October and November. However,
Okay.
I just want to mention this because uh, people starting to trade now or with a little experience in trading have to learn from other traders. Like I want to learn new things from traders like you or people in LAR or in Blake Morris, for example, a wonderful webinar. He's also very good.
Yes,
I
he
want
is.
to I want to learn new stuff because I believe people have lost money and they learned something. So if I learn from their mistakes, I may not do the same mistake and I may avoid losing more money.
Okay,
So
so let's talk about moving forward. We have a big week
yes,
with ECB. We have a big week with NFP on Thursday,
NFP is going
Friday
to
doubleheader.
be a huge decider for the dollar, which is hugely overbought, I believe, the last few weeks. Can you see my dollar index chart?
Yeah, yeah,
I believe it's on the premises of breaking this rising wedge, and we could see a correction down to 98 or even lower uh, as soon as this week, even before NFP, I believe. And my main focus for the last 2 weeks, and I believe it will be my main focus over 2016, is gold. Gold, I believe, might be making a long-term low, and I'm already long. I believe the weekly chart is giving a divergence and
yeah.
oversold signal in stochastics, and at least a bounce towards 1120 will be made. And my view is that this can really be a long-term low. We don't know yet. We will be sure about it only if we break above 1260.
Hmm.
But it's my view that I wanted to start opening a small position right now.
Okay.
The stochastic every time has reached these levels has produced a considerable good bounce. And even if this is a bounce and gives us a new low, I want to trade it either way.
Let me ask you this. I trade wedges quite a bit, and I've experienced things like throwovers and throw unders. Throwovers are, the opposite wedge should
Hmm.
be like in a rising wedge instead of a falling wedge. And on throwovers, I end up throwing up because I'm trading that line. So something analogous to this would be that we take out that bottom line that it's now holding in what usually ends up being some type of false move to
Hmm.
shake out the wedge
A
line
fake
players. And
breakdown,
yeah, it could be a throw under, and
throw
then next
under,
time
yes.
back inside the wedge, you have your
Very
signal.
possible,
Okay,
very
so
possible, very
I'm
possible.
just saying that I've traded wedges, and it's respected a line, and there's actually a term for it on a rising wedge, a throw over. So a throw over on this, I guess you
Yes,
could call
we
a
need to
throw
see
under.
some blood on the streets, some
Yeah,
spike down, capitulation decline, in order for everyone to be scared, like we did see in August in the equity markets.
right. Okay. So you had a Canadian wedge up there, and
Yes,
that's an interesting formation. Looks like it's just hanging on by a thread here. And
yes, correct.
I notice you use clouds.
Yes, I use them a lot. They
You like
provide,
Ichimoku stuff.
yes, they
So,
provide excellent support and resistance levels by just plotting the Ichimoku cloud on one product. For
so,
example,
so your view is dollar correcting, gold
yes,
bottoming, Canada
yes,
peaking. So overall, this is there's potential bearish moves coming in the dollar that's going to affect commodity prices.
yes.
Okay,
However,
so I have your read on that, and um, the Dixie is so far above cloud levels, isn't it? What's that yellow line in the Dixie that's coming in around 98.25? What's that?
This yellow line and this red line are indicators of the Ichimoku cloud system. These are
Okay.
support levels. When, for example, this is the daily chart, okay? So we have
Okay.
daily support according to Ichimoku indicators and 99.52. If this is broken, I would expect 98.40. If this is broken, we go towards the cloud.
And that's all the way down to 96s. 96.
Yes. I also use Fibonacci retracement. It's very useful most of the time. 38% and 61.8% are the
Yeah.
most important support levels.
Okay. So
Even if
let me ask you this about rules. We were talking about rules. Are you flat into the ECB and are you flat into the NFP on red events, or do you just reduce leverage and stay with your positions into those events? Because, you know, it does, if you have the philosophy of not being in, you miss a lot of things, but
yes,
you also don't have to guess right. So I'm curious how
usually
you approach events where you could throw your charts away for an hour.
usually I prefer going flat into those events. This time I'm long the Australian dollar because I have entered from much lower levels, so I'm just riding the trend.
Okay.
Took profits today for half of my size
Yeah, nice
uh,
out.
be- because I
Yeah.
wanted to decrease my exposure. I'm also long the New Zealand dollar because it also has broken. I'm
So
also
these
long from
okay. So these commodity currencies are supporting your belief in a commodity rally, a gold rally, because the dollar just yesterday made a new high for the move in the Dixie, and both the
Mhm.
Aussie and the Kiwi have not made new lows for
That is
months.
why I avoid for the time being trading the euro dollar. Euro dollar is on the daily chart massively oversold, but still there is no sign of breakout. Since we have non-farm payrolls and the ECB, I prefer to stay neutral and wait. And that is why my main focus is on dollar CAD, New Zealand dollar, and Australian dollar. All of them I believe they have a much greater upside potential. However, I
Okay,
decided to take profits for half-size position today in order to lock in some profits and not be greedy.
smart. So what do? Normally take half your position off and then trail your stops to either BE or a
When I
profit stop?
when I opened my position, for example, in the New Zealand dollar, uh, I had 0.6650 as my target. So I decided to close half there today, and I will raise my stop uh, probably uh, to 65.15.
Okay. Any other
However,
Go ahead, buddy.
however, since I also use Elliott waves and some other tools are also, I prefer to also look at the structure of the rise. I do not want to see overlapping movements or choppy movements. If I see a choppy movement, I will take my profits. However, this movement is not choppy, it looks impulsive, and that's why I
Yes.
have a wider stop in order to avoid the noise of a short-term pullback. That's
Okay.
why my stop is still very low for the rest of my position.
Okay. So why don't we do this now, Alexander? You have a website called
Yeah,
www trading number two day trading today.
trading
And
today,
what
correct.
why don't you why don't you tell us what you do when you're not in LAR?
when I'm not in LAR, um, I started a blog a few years ago, just in order to put my thoughts in paper, so I could meet new people from abroad, and so I could share my views. And this changed over the years, and I saw that my analysis and my trading performance um, was interesting to some people, and many people here in Greece also wanted help in trading forex, commodities, equities, and that is why I created my website where I offer some services. Greek people, Greek people that also my website can also meet me from up close, and we could talk. And I work as a portfolio manager mainly, and
Okay.
I usually my main service is where I post my trades by SMS to all the subscribers. Up to
Okay.
now, I had two Twitter accounts that were exclusive for the subscribers. But many people did not have easy access to Twitter or did not have a smartphone, and that's why I changed to SMS. So every trade I make, it's instantly sent through SMS to all my subscribers, and
How do
all
they
trades
receive? How do your subscribers receive the SMS message?
when they buy the
Mainly through their phones or
yes,
email?
through their phones,
Okay,
through their
got it.
phones.
All right.
So when a subscriber buys a subscription, they send me their mobile phone number, and whenever I make a trade, each morning I send over the open positions, the pending orders, sorry, and each time I place an order or make a trade, I send them a message. Uh, when I had the Twitter accounts, the same rules applied. Whenever I placed an order or whenever I made a trade, all my trades were sent through tweets to my subscribers. So everything was done in real time, and everything, as I say to everyone I meet, is with real money under real circumstances, under real market conditions, because it's not unpopular to see many people. It's very popular nowadays to see many people using demo accounts and or deleting their tweets with their losses and showing themselves as experts. I do not show
Yes, a
myself
lot
as
of
an
people, a
expert.
lot of people choke on the words "I was wrong" and "I don't know,"
Yes,
and that
yes,
and that separates you. You came into this interview talking about a negative period you had, and you're a market
yes.
veteran that broke his own rules, and
Hmm.
that shows that no matter how long you've been at it, when you lose your discipline, you lose
Yes,
money. And
correct, correct.
so, that's a great example because people will beat themselves up for doing that. I'm
Hmm.
sure you did a bit too.
Of
Oh,
course, of
Alex,
course.
what did you do? That kind of language.
Hmm.
And really, you don't know how good you are until adversity strikes. So
Correct.
I really appreciate you coming in here and saying I was wrong, I broke my rules, I lost money, because I've seen great calls and ideas from you originally on Twitter. That's how I reached out to you. And when you share your work in LAR, I've seen great work. So this was a very good, instructive interview. In fact, Jax R. Wild says he loves you. So, so you're being shown the love today from LAR. Who else loves Alexandros and thinks he's a great addition to our community when he's not busy with his own business? Give me a Y. So, I encourage people to follow you on Twitter. That's a good way to keep in touch with you. And
Thanks.
your Twitter handle is at AlexanderYF.
Yes,
And
correct.
to go check out Alexander's website at www.tradingtoday.com. Any
My,
final thoughts? Any final thoughts you want to share with us today, buddy?
just they entered the room. My two kids just entered the room.
Uh-huh.
The youngest one dressed as an elf. She's 10 months old,
Yeah.
and
You're,
the only thing I have to say is people should not overthink and should not frustrate themselves over losses. Get over it. The market is here. It always provides opportunities. And if we are patient and have a plan, the money will be made and profits will come. All is needed is patience.
thank you so much, Alexander.
Thank you, Dale.
I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate. I'm glad I reached out to you on Twitter, and really appreciate every time I see your handle in LAR. And I wish
Thank you.
you and
Thank
your
you very much.
family a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year's, and let's have a great December. Look at the elf. Oh, now is he going to be a trader? You're going to teach him how
uh,
to trade?
no, I hope not. She's not a
Okay,
trader.
I agree with you. I agree with you. How about a better life for the kids than having to sit in front of a screen? So, what a
Yes.
beautiful family you have, Alexander. I
Thank
could
you.
tell
Thank you
you're
very
a blessed
much.
guy. You're a
They
blessed
just
guy.
woke up.
Yeah.
They just woke up and wanted to see their dad.
All right, and I'm glad to call you my friend, my trading warrior brother.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
All right, Alexander. Good hunting, buddy. Thank you for
Thank
your
you. Bye
time
bye.
today. Bye bye.
Me, thank you. Bye bye.